Hey Browns fans! Today, we have some breaking news that could have major implications for the future of our team. We're talking trade moves, locker room reactions, and big changes on the horizon. But first, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to stay up to date with the latest Cleveland Browns news. Let's dive in. Let's break it down. The Browns entered this season with serious hopes. I'm talking Super Bowl aspirations, or real belief that this team could go the distance. But as we sit here in Week 9, it's a whole different story. The Browns are 2-7, and let's be real, it's been a tough ride. Fans are frustrated, the locker room is tense, and there's a lot of talk about what's next for this franchise. As the team approaches its bye week, everyone is looking for answers. Are we talking about a complete rebuild? Or do we just need a few tweaks to get back on track? There are budget concerns, aging stars, and a lot of uncertainty hanging over the offseason. One player at the center of this firestorm is starting safety Juan Thornhill. Thornhill's future with the Browns became a hot topic after some comments he made during a TikTok live session. According to ESPN's Coop, when asked by a fan if he would be with the Browns next season, Thornhill didn't hold back. He said, "I don't know. I'd be lying if I said I do." Not exactly what you want to hear if you're a Browns fan, right? This seems like a clear sign that he's not sure if Cleveland is where he'll be next year. So what's behind this uncertainty? The Browns' recent moves are definitely playing a role. Trading Amari Cooper to Buffalo and Zadarius Smith to Detroit set shockwaves through the team. It signals a shift in priorities, a focus on building for the future rather than a win-now mentality. For veteran players like Thornhill, it raises legitimate questions about their security and place in this changing landscape. Despite the team's struggles, Thornhill has been a bright spot on defense. His versatility, leadership, and playmaking ability have stood out. He's made his share of mistakes, everyone has, but he's been a key contributor. In a defense that's seen its ups and downs, Thornhill has remained a steady presence. The question now is whether the Browns see him as part of their future plans, or if he becomes another casualty of the team's shifting strategy. Switching gears for a moment, let's talk about the offense. The Browns' struggles aren't limited to defense, and former Cleveland legend Joe Thomas isn't holding back. Thomas has some pointed thoughts on the team's direction and what needs to change. Appearing on the Rich Eisen show, Thomas didn't sugarcoat the reality. He called out the inconsistency on offense and how, even with talented quarterbacks like Joe Flacco and Jameis Winston stepping in, the Browns have looked flat and, frankly, unwatchable at times with Deshaun Watson under center. Thomas offered an intriguing solution: move Watson under center. This might sound simple, but it could be a game-changer for the Browns. Stefanski's offensive scheme works best with a traditional under-center approach, which would allow for more effective play action and a more dynamic rushing attack. The current shotgun-heavy offense has made things predictable for defenses, giving them too much time to read and react. A change in formation could reignite this offense, but it means Watson would have to adapt his game. Of course, this isn't just a football decision, it's a business one too. Watson's fully guaranteed 5-year, $230 million contract means he's staying in Cleveland through at least 2026. That's a massive commitment for the team. GM Andrew Berry has already restructured over $44 million of Watson's salary to create cap flexibility, but if Watson doesn't turn things around soon, the Browns could find themselves in a tough spot financially and competitively. So where does that leave us? The Browns are facing some serious decisions, both short-term and long-term. Thornhill's uncertainty, the offensive struggles, and the financial realities of Watson's contract point to a pivotal moment for the franchise. Are we looking at a full-on rebuild or just a strategic reset? One thing is for sure, these next few weeks and the offseason will shape the Browns for years to come. Now it's time to hear from you. What do you think the Browns should do with players like Juan Thornhill? Do you agree with Joe Thomas that a shift to more center could change things for Watson and the offense? Let us know in the comments below. We know this season has been a roller coaster, starting with high hopes, but here we are at 2-7. The Browns have already made some big moves, trading Amari Cooper to the Buffalo Bills and Zadarius Smith to the Detroit Lions. Those were big moves and have generated a lot of debate among fans and analysts. But what's really interesting is what didn't happen. NFL Network insider Tom Pelissero recently shared his thoughts on the Dan Patrick Show, and he was pretty blunt. He said he was a little surprised the Browns didn't make even more trades before the deadline. According to him, it seems like the Browns believe they had a playoff-caliber roster last year, and despite some tough quarterback moves this season, including injuries to Deshaun Watson, they think they can still be competitive. Pelissero hinted that almost everyone on the roster could have been on the table for a trade, except for a few key players like Myles Garrett. But he expected more names to emerge in trades, like Greg Newsome II, David Njoku, or Elijah Moore. He suggested the Browns may have considered a go down and build a backup approach, meaning a bigger overhaul could be on the table. So why haven't more trades happened? It's a fair question, and it could depend on the team's vision for next season and beyond. The trades they did make netted some draft capital, a 2025 third-round pick, a sixth-rounder, and a 2026 seventh-rounder from the Bills for Cooper. In the deal with Detroit for Smith, the Browns picked up a 2025 fifth-round pick and a 2026 sixth-rounder. Pelissero noted that while the Browns did pick up some assets, many thought they would go further. This brings us to the bigger issue hanging over the Browns, Deshaun Watson. The trade and massive contract for Watson, 5 years, $230 million fully guaranteed, was a gamble, and so far, it hasn't paid off. Watson's play has been inconsistent, and now he's out for the season with a ruptured Achilles. The Browns are in a tough spot. They're paying top dollar for a quarterback who hasn't delivered, and there's no easy way out of that deal. With Watson out, it looks like Jameis Winston will be under center for the rest of this challenging season. But what does the future hold at quarterback? Pelissero and other analysts believe the Browns need to draft a quarterback in 2025. If the season continues on its current trajectory, the Browns could land a top 10 pick, giving them a chance to reset with a young signal caller. Alternatively, they could explore free agency, with some intriguing names potentially on the market, like Justin Fields, who's been performing well with the Steelers after his trade from Chicago. It all depends on whether Pittsburgh re-signs him. Fields' story is a fascinating one. He's shown flashes of improvement, and while he's not MVP caliber just yet, he could be an upgrade over what the Browns have seen lately. If Fields becomes available, do the Browns make a move? Or do they stick with drafting a rookie? These are questions that the front office needs to weigh carefully. So, Browns fans, what do you think? Should the Browns have gone all in on trades to fully rebuild? Is drafting a new quarterback the way to go, or should they consider someone like Justin Fields in free agency? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear what you think about the future of this team. And don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any updates. Go Browns!